Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a wonderful break. And I'm so glad to be back with you guys. Sorry I didn't post anything last week. It was kind of a crazy week, not knowing who was coming back and who was going to be taking off and that kind of stuff. So I usually don't like to just post to everybody because then I get a lot of confused emails about should my child be doing this at home, so forth, so on. So I just thought it best just to let last week kind of play out a little bit and then start fresh with this week. Well, we have 2 weeks left of this quarter and the first half of the school year. So it's exciting time that, we're halfway there almost. To end this quarter out, we are going to be illustrators, illustrating our own story that we write. Now, I know in second grade, it's hard to grasp this whole idea of writing a story. And I know you guys like reading stories, but it's how do we write a story? And I know you guys do a lot of writing in your classroom, but I really want you guys to write a story. I'm not talking some long book. I'm just talking a little short story, couple paragraphs long, and your story needs to have the essential story questions: who, what, where, when, and why. So for example, in your classroom, your classmates chose a character and two friends to go with that character. So one of the classrooms chose a penguin with a cat and a dog as friends. And another one of the classrooms chose a tiger with a hawk and a lion as a friend, if I remember correctly. So they chose their who. Then they gave their who's names. So every character has a name. And then they had to decide where the characters were, why they were there, what they were doing there, and when was it? Was it 500 years ago? Was it in the future? Was it in the present, right now? Is it something that's happening right now? And then, like I said, what were they doing there? Was it a party? Was it an after COVID party, just something. They had to come up with a little story. Again, we're not talking a book length story, just a couple paragraphs. And then after writing the story, which you will have to write it and turn it into me, I do want to see the written part of the story, you will become the illustrator and draw the story. Now, some students that are on campus actually took their story into a place where they put so much information into it, they couldn't get all that information into one picture, one illustration. So they actually had to break their story down into multiple illustrations, like in a book. When you flip a book, you see a different illustration, and that's basically how their story goes. Maybe their story started one place and then ended at another place. So they had to have different illustrations showing how they got from that one place to the other place. So your illustration might be several different pages long to match your story. Or if your story only takes place in one set area and they're only doing one set thing, then you probably only need to make one illustration. The one thing I will tell you with the illustration is I want it to be a complete full page illustration. So using a normal size piece of paper, I want you to illustrate your idea on the full piece of paper, full color. I don't care what you use to color it in, crayons, markers. You can use paint if you have paint, and you can make it look nice. But I want to be able to look at your picture, your illustration, and be able to tell what's going on before I actually read your story and see if your story matches your illustration. So, give me something interesting. Don't just give me these three characters that are just standing on a beach, just standing there. Make them doing something, and in your illustration, show them doing something. The other thing I really, 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 really want to stress is size. So, the most important part of your illustration is the who, your characters, and what they are doing. So they need to be the biggest part of your illustration, your drawing. Don't give me a background like they're on the beach and the whole background is a beach or a forest or an island or whatever it might be, and then give me tiny little characters down in the bottom that I can't see or tell what they're doing. If you're having a hard time understanding this concept that your characters and what they're doing need to be central and big and the most important part of your illustration, then just open a book. Open one of your storybooks. I'm sure you guys have a million different books at home. Look at them and say, okay, before reading this, can I tell what this story is about, who this story is about? Are they the biggest part of the story? And that will help you get an idea of how big your characters should be in your illustration. So this is going to be the final project of the quarter. And normally I have your projects due on Mondays, but the quarter actually ends on Friday, the 22nd, I believe it is. So I'm going to actually have these due on the 21st. So that way it gives me time to grade them and get your grades in for the quarter. I wouldn't do this all at one time. I would chunk this into sections. Otherwise, you're gonna get burned out on doing it. And a lot of times, maybe you can write a part of a story and then come back to it maybe the next day and say, oh, you know what? I want to add this to my story. And then go from there. So chunk this into sections. Don't do it all in one day. You'll get, with anything that you do a lot of at one time, you get kind of burnt out on it. So enjoy doing this project. I know the students who are on campus are having fun doing it. So enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing your stories and your drawings. Have a wonderful week. Bye.